All right, so we're diving into something today that might just completely change how you think about trading.
Okay.
We're talking trading psychology.
Mm-hmm.
You know how everyone always says trading is risky?
Yeah.
Well, what if I told you that your biggest risk isn't the market itself?
Okay.
It might be what's going on between your own ears.
Interesting.
We're going deep on this with an Investopedia article
Mm-hmm.
all about developing a trading brain.
Okay.
And get this, they actually say that trading is 100% psychology.
Wow.
I don't know about you, but that stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah.
I thought charts and algorithms were like the stars of the show.
Right. Well, think about it this way. Those charts are like musical notes,
Okay.
but your brain is the conductor. So you can have the most beautiful sheet music in the world, but without a conductor who understands like the timing, the nuance, the emotional impact,
Right.
the music falls flat.
Okay. That is a way better analogy than I could come up with.
Uh-huh.
So it's not just about like the what of trading,
Hmm.
but the mental game that we bring to the table.
Exactly.
Now, this article features a quote from a trading psychologist named Norman Wells.
Okay.
And it's a doozy, he says. The greatest enemy of the trader is fear. He who is afraid loses.
Hmm.
Seems kind of obvious at first glance, right?
Yeah.
But why is fear such a big deal when it comes to trading specifically?
Well, because fear, along with all of our other emotions, it kind of hijacks our ability to think clearly
Right.
and make rational decisions, especially when there's money on the line.
Of course.
And Wells isn't just some like self-help guru. Yeah.
He actually trains traders' brains for success. He's seen firsthand how fear, greed, even just like getting overly excited
Right.
can totally derail a trader who has a solid strategy.
Okay, so are you telling me all those hours I spent trying to decode candlestick patterns was a little misguided? I mean, don't get me wrong, that stuff's important, but are you saying it's not the be-all and end-all?
Yeah, not quite.
Okay.
Technical analysis and market knowledge are definitely crucial. But here's the thing.
Okay.
You can have the absolute best trading strategy in the world,
Mm-hmm.
but if your emotions are the ones calling the shots,
Yeah.
you're essentially driving a sports car with the parking brake on.
Okay. I'm starting to see why this whole trading brain concept is such a big deal.
Yeah.
So how do we even begin to rewire our thinking like that?
The article mentioned something about Wells using hypnosis,
Uh-huh.
which honestly sounds a little out there.
Yeah, I hear you. It does sound a bit like something out of a movie.
Yeah.
But it's not about mind control or anything like that.
Okay.
It's more about using techniques like hypnosis to help traders identify and understand their subconscious biases.
Okay.
These deeply ingrained thought patterns that might be sabotaging their trades without them even realizing it.
Interesting. So it's like we're trying to trade with all this hidden code running in the background,
Yeah, kind of.
influencing our decisions without us even knowing it.
Right.
How do we even start to crack that code?
Well, it's about bringing those subconscious patterns to the surface.
Okay.
One technique Wells uses is called de-anchoring.
De-anchor.
Yeah, it's based on this idea that we start to associate certain emotions with certain market situations.
Okay.
Like maybe every time the market dips, you feel this surge of panic
Oh, yeah.
that makes you want to sell everything.
I know that feeling.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So de-anchoring helps you break those automatic emotional responses.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing the pattern first, understanding where it comes from, and then consciously choosing a different response.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's more helpful.
But let's say you've identified those subconscious gremlins or whatever.
Right.
How do you actually go from recognizing them to, like, not letting them wreck your trades?
Well, that's where discipline comes in.
Okay.
And I don't just mean like having a trading plan. I mean having the mental fortitude to actually stick to that plan, even when every emotion you have is screaming at you to do something else.
Right, because it's easy to say, I'm going to buy low and sell high.
Exactly.
But when you're staring at a sea of red on your screen, that's a whole other story.
Exactly. And that's why developing a trading brain goes beyond just knowing the markets.
Okay.
It's about cultivating mental resilience, emotional intelligence, self-awareness, all of that.
So if we break it all down, what does having a trading brain actually look like in action? How would someone even know if they're on the right track?
Well, think of it this way. Someone with a trading brain is looking at the same charts and data as anybody else,
Okay.
but they're processing that information through a different lens. They're not ruled by fear or greed. They're making calculated decisions based on their strategy. Right.
not their gut feeling.
So it's about taking those emotions, which, let's face it, are always going to be there,
Yeah.
and using them to your advantage instead of letting them control you.
Precisely imagine a professional poker player.
Okay.
They're experiencing the same highs and lows as anyone else at the table.
Sure.
But they've mastered the art of managing those emotions, reading their opponents, making strategic bets based on probability, not impulse.
Okay, I'm starting to see the connection here.
Yeah.
So how can our listeners start putting this into practice?
Right.
I mean, are we talking like meditation retreats and sensory deprivation tanks here? Well, it's not quite that intense. Although, hey, if sensory deprivation tanks work for you, go for it.
Right.
But seriously, there's some really practical takeaways from this article
Yeah.
that anyone can use.
Even if you're not ready to go full-on Zen master just yet.
Exactly. One of the biggest things Wells emphasizes is having a well-defined trading strategy.
Right.
And I'm not just talking about knowing like which stocks you like. I mean, having those clear entry and exit points, having your risk management rules in place, basically like a roadmap for your trades.
Yeah.
That takes emotion out of the equation as much as possible.
So it's like having those if this, then that rules
Exactly.
kind of pre-programmed into your trading.
Exactly, because when you're in the heat of the moment and the market is like doing its thing, that is not the time to be making decisions based on gut feeling.
Right.
Having that predetermined strategy, it helps you stay disciplined.
Okay.
And avoid making those impulsive moves that you're going to regret later.
That makes a ton of sense. But what about when things inevitably don't go according to plan?
Right.
How do you avoid letting those inevitable losses throw you off your game?
That's where that self-awareness comes in.
Okay.
Being able to recognize those moments when fear or frustration starts creeping in.
Yeah.
And having a plan for how you're going to deal with those emotions.
Okay.
Maybe it's stepping away from the screen for a minute,
Yeah.
talking to a trading buddy.
Sure.
Or just like revisiting your strategy when you have a clear head.
So it's not about becoming some kind of emotionless trading robot.
Right.
It's about learning to work with your emotions constructively.
Exactly. It's like that old saying,
Okay.
you can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf.
Love that. So to wrap things up, it sounds like developing a trading brain is really about cultivating this unique blend of market knowledge, emotional intelligence, and self-discipline.
Absolutely. It's about understanding that your biggest asset and your biggest liability in the market are the same thing.
Okay.
Your own mind.
This has been incredibly eye-opening.
It really is fascinating stuff.
Yeah, we went from thinking about charts and algorithms to realizing that the real trading edge might just be mastering our own psychology.
Yeah, and the best part is it's a skill that anyone can develop with the right tools and practice.
Now, before we go, I want to leave our listeners with something to chew on.
Okay.
We've been talking about individual trading psychology.
Right.
But what about the collective psychology of the market as a whole? What happens when you multiply those individual fears and biases and reactions by millions of traders all around the world?
It's a great question.
Does that create a whole other level of complexity?
Definitely something to think about.
Something to ponder as you continue your trading journey.
Absolutely.
Until next time.